Hey friends, it's Pastor Febercorn here with you. Tuesday, September the 10th, 2024. It's time for Tuesdays with Marty and just a little Lions edition in honor of their first win of the season on our road to the Super Bowl this year. As you know, some of you know, I'm from Michigan, so you're just by default a Lions fan. I love Barry Sanders back in the glory days, but when you're a Lions fan, you always adopt an alternate team just to avoid the pure misery. So that's always been the Broncos for me. Uh, Met John Elway when I was a little kid at one of his car dealerships, and he was kind of my childhood idol. Then, of course, along came Peyton Manning, several decades after that. But the last, oh, 6 or 7 years have been a real drought out in Denver. So call me a fair weather fan. That's not really true, but the Lions made it all the way to the NFC Championship last year. And so until Patrick Mahomes retires, I think the road to the AFC West goes through Kansas City. And so I'll continue to pull for those Broncos, but the Lions have my heart this year. Hopefully they'll do well. Anyway, that was for, of course, Dave Steinbacher and all other cheeseheads out there that might be in our congregation. All right, here we go. Kind of an interesting Tuesdays with Marty. I have this kind of reservoir of quotes that I've come across. People put them in memes online, and I just store them up. And I'm almost running out of those. It's okay because see that shelf behind me, the uh, to my I guess left in your view. Those are all Luther's works. So I'm not going to run out of Luther quotes anytime soon. I may just have to dig a little harder for them. But this was interesting and very appropriate for our day and age. Luther is just talking about the estate of marriage in 1522, and he writes a little treatise on it. And by the way, in the Large Catechism, Luther says this that marriage is the first thing God institutes as far as an order of creation. It's the building block of all of society, marriage and family. And of course, this is way before the transgender movement of what, probably less than the past decade. I think is when this thing has started to take off as sort of a societal contagion, enabled by hormone therapy and technologies like gender transition surgery, etc. But Luther says this, and it's just insightful because he doesn't even have the transgender movement in mind. And he writes this. He says, each one of us must have the kind of body God has created for us. I mean, how could you have a different kind of body? This is what God ordained that you would come out of your mother's womb with. It says, I cannot make myself a woman, nor can you make yourself a man. We do not have that power. Okay. So I'll stop right there and just say the sexuality we're created with is given to us by God. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with our personality. Um, there are sexual males and sexual females who do not fit the stereotypical roles our society may assign to those sexes, but that doesn't make them less a male or a female. It just means that they're maybe um, have a different personality than is usual or most typical of that sex. But we don't have the power to change who we are. And the truth is, even those who undergo gender transition, at the end of their day, in their DNA, are still a male or a female. And by the way, when they're raised and restored on the last day, assuming they have faith in Jesus and repent of their sins, they will be raised a male or a female. Okay? God made them who they were. He didn't make a mistake. A lot of times when people feel dysphoria over their gender, in past it was a mental illness to be treated, like many other mental illnesses that we struggle with this side of the fall. Now it's really just an affirming therapy to try to make troubled teens feel better. And what the research is now saying, that we've got a decade of this under our belt, is that it actually doesn't help at all. In fact, there's a lot of evidence, it gets suppressed, that's showing that it's actually made things worse. Because what it is at the end of the day is a pushing back against the God who made us. Nothing can rebel more against your creator than to say, I refuse to be who you made me to be. All right. So Luther's saying this, and it has all kinds of import for today. But really, what he's talking about is the marriage estate. So that's kind of where this goes next. We are exactly as he created us. I am a man, and you are a woman. Now, I don't know if he's he hasn't been married to his wife yet, so he's just speaking, hypothetically here, as if he's writing to a woman. He says, moreover, he wills to have his excellent handiwork honored as his divine creation. So we honor our sexuality and who we are, whether we're a male or female. We don't despise it. And then each should honor the other's image and body as a divine and good creation as well. Like kind of the old joke, right? As Adam was all alone, he named all the animals and he couldn't find a suitable helper. And then God puts him into a sleep, removes a rib, and fashions Eve. And he brings Eve to Adam. And of course, in the garden in paradise, there's no need yet for clothing. And Adam sees Eve and immediately exclaims, "Whoa, man." So that's what he named her, woman. Do you get it? But anyway, the male is to honor the image of the female's body, especially in his wife. See, that's a good, God-pleasing creation. God created her especially for Adam. They're made for each other, male and female. And of course, Luther will go on to say, I'm sure in this treatise, but as Genesis goes on to say, a man should leave his father and mother and join to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. See, we honor the sex God created us to be, and we honor his design in the other, who we honor for who God created them to be. And when things are functioning well, that's how we ought to live as individuals and as a society. So some good, wise words for Luther here us on this Tuesday morning. God's continued peace to you, and I'll see you later this week.